Scheduling objectives. There are many things we can optimize for when choosing our method of scheduling. We're going to go through some of those objectives and some of the tools you could use to optimize for them. First of all, imagine we're just optimizing for an easy life, the simplicity of scheduling. Well, a great method here would be the FIFO we discussed earlier, first in, first out, or first come, first serve. No work required, we'll just do the work in the order that it arrives to us. Now, the second objective we could optimize for is the minimum average completion time. And this is the same as saying the most jobs completed per unit of time. The scheduling rule we could use to optimize this is called shortest processing time, SPT. Again, it's the one we mentioned just earlier, to order the jobs in the length, shortest jobs first. Regardless of when they arrive, if we always do the next shortest job first. Now, to step out for a second, as an operations manager, we have to be very in tune with what metrics we use to reward our team, to measure our own performance or measure our juniors' performance. If, for example, we measured the scheduling department on most number of jobs completed, well, maybe implicitly they will choose a scheduling rule to optimize for that. It could be the shortest processing time rule, where all the short jobs get done and all the long, valuable jobs don't. The next scheduling objective we could optimize for would be to minimize maximum lateness. This would be to rearrange all of our jobs on the list in order to mean that the one that is going to be the most late is as least late as possible. Now, to optimize for this rule and the next few we're going to talk about, there are heuristics. These are not perfect mathematical equations, but they are methods to take our jobs list and apply a general process rule of thumb to them. To optimize for this objective, you could use the earliest due date heuristic. Now, a heuristic is not an algorithmic solution, but it's one that gives a reasonable solution using a set of sequence rules to apply to the outstanding orders. Look it up, the earliest due date. Another objective would be to minimize the number of late jobs. And for this, we could use something called Moore's algorithm. We could also optimize to minimize the average lateness. And a heuristic you could use to do this would be the modified due date heuristic. And there are also many other scheduling objectives you could optimize for. The important point of this section is that within scheduling, to be explicit in what your objectives are. For many of these objectives, there are well-defined heuristics that you can use yourself without supercomputers to churn mega algorithms. And finally, to be very conscious of both what objectives you set yourself or your team and the implications on what rules either you or your team might create for themselves to best achieve them.